Okay, so I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:29. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Education, alongside our superintendent and our wonderful leadership team, I would like to welcome everyone tonight. As we gather in the month of February, we pause to recognize Black History Month, a time to honor the history, achievements, resilience, and lasting contributions of Black Americans who have shaped our nation, our communities, and our schools. We are grateful for the opportunity to reflect, learn, and continue fostering a culture of respect, inclusion, and understanding for all. And with that, let's stand for the pledge.
Thank you, President Meyer. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was waiting for you to invite me.
Oh, yes.
Okay. The roll call. Trustee Reagan-Mauer.
I am here.
Trustee Mayberry.
Here.
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Treasurer McIntyre.
I'm here. Good evening.
Vice President Stewart.
Here.
Secretary Campbell-Voitel. I am here. And President Meyer.
Here, thank you. All right, that brings us to the adoption of our agenda.
Okay. I'll bring forth motion number 83 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support.
Which one was it? Okay. I heard Mauer. So we have a motion brought forth by Vice President Stewart, supported by Trustee Maurer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that brings us to the consent resolutions.
All right. I will bring forth motion number 84 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. We have 5A, the minutes of the January 13th, 2026 Board of Education meeting. 5B, overnight and or out-of-state field trip requests. And that's 5B1 is NHS boys golf competition in Roscommon, Michigan from April 30th to May 1st, 2026. And 5C, the NHS course edition of CAD Engineering 2. 5D, middle school course editions of STEAM 7 and STEAM 8. 5E, NHS course name change from financial literacy to financial applications of algebra. 5F, Moraine addition and renovations bid award totaling $142,770. And 5G, NHS security camera installation bid award to Crouch Communication totaling $45,371. 5H, the 2026-2027 Early Childhood Education and Extended Day Program tuition rates. 5I, schedule a Board of Education meeting on March 24th, 2026 at Hillside Middle School at 6:30. 5J, schedule committee of the whole meeting on May 19th, 2026 at 6:30 at Old Village School and April 11th, 2026 at Northville Township Essential Service Building at 8:30 a.m. And 5K, bill warrants totaling $4,138,960.17. Whew.
Got it.
Support. Okay. Okay, so I have a motion brought forth by Vice President Stewart, supported by Treasurer McIntyre. All in favor?
So one thing I want to point out here, I'm sorry I didn't catch this earlier. The early childhood education and tuition rates is in here. I need to abstain from this one due to a conflict of interest because my wife works in early childhood. So do we want to move that out to a separate one, or how do we want to handle that?
I appreciate that.
We can do that because I want the consent to have a 7-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And before we
Okay.
vote, I just wanted to, thank you, Ron, for bringing that up. I just wanted to bring up, I'm in support of the course addition of the CAD engineering too. Last week in our committee of the whole, we talked about, as we're considering adding courses, that we really want to be mindful of gender and racial equity for additional classes. So I appreciated that discussion and just wanted to raise that flag as we're voting on this. I'm in support of the addition, but just going
Okay.
forward, want to make sure that
Yes.
the administration is mindful, and we had a really good conversation about that
Mhm.
last week. So I know that we're being mindful. Also wanted the community to know that as we're considering these additional courses, that we do keep those additional things in mind.
Okay. I appreciate that.
And then Karen, before the vote as well, I'd like to say thank you to our Devin Kling and our early childhood team. If we go to H on there, there will be no tuition increase in a country that has seen inflation rise and rise and rise. Very proud of that and grateful for that. And also thank the community on the security camera installation. We live in a world that unfortunately increasingly needs school districts to spend more and more of our resources on things that when I was growing up, we didn't. So thank you to the community for that as well.
I appreciate that. Okay, so we are going to have a vote that was a motion brought by Vice President Stewart, supported by Treasurer McIntyre, but without 5H.
Mhm.
So 5H, the 2026-27 Early Childhood Education Extended Day Program tuition rates is not included in this particular vote that we're about to take. Anyone have any questions or about clarity around that? Okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So would you like us to vote on that now, or should we do that further
We'll do
on?
it at the last item.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to communications.
All right. We have had communications since our last meeting, several at the NPS BOE at northvilleschools.org address. In addition to, we have received the Wayne Risa board highlights for January 2026 and the monthly program report from Northville Youth Network for January 2026.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to you, Dr. Weber.
Thank you very much, President Meyer. I know the board, I'm going to ask the board to add some detail to some of these things, but why don't we wait until I kind of come through there. So we had parent camp Saturday, the 7th, and this is I believe, Megan, the 6th board meeting of the year already, or the 5th? Yeah, it was about 3 hours, I think we count it. So 6. So not only have you been here pretty much every Tuesday, but the first two or a number of these, I'm so proud to say that many of our board members have attended these events as well. So parent camp being Saturday at our high school. Much love to the Northville Education Foundation for keeping a focus on where I believe that everyone in this room thinks it should be, which is our kids. We had 2 board members attend the National School Board Association Advocacy and Equity Institute. And again, that is a testament. I talked to folks who went on that trip, and they were very grateful for our 2 board members, Ron and Karen, who went there to advocate for appropriate funding, especially in the area of special education. And I didn't realize this, but yesterday I was principal for half a day at Cook in the morning for Ms. Bugar, who's here tonight. And the federal government only gives us money up until 21 for the students we serve, yet we're the only state in the union that serves kids till 26. And so what a testament to the fact that if communities are willing to support things that are good and right, you can. And I know the board has a deep respect and appreciation for the work that our folks do at Cook and the families we serve. But that was an interesting thing to learn as well. And I look forward to hearing more, obviously, from the 2 of you about that trip. And then next is community awards. So we had a community awards. Nope, that's not a younger RJ Weber in the lower left. That's Adam, who pinched my seat. It's okay, Adam, I won't forget. And that was our community awards on Thursday, where we were able to honor Mike Rumbell, who's in his 54th year of serving the Northville Public Schools. And if you've ever seen a parade in Northville, chances are very, 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 very good that beautiful marching band that you see bringing what is great about a community public school district into the community was led by Mr. Rumbell. And so it was really neat to honor him and to have that. Also, Inclusion Week this week, we've got two of our board members wearing the swag, which I love. And I know that our social media and our website has been really diligently trying to show really the goodness of our kids with that Inclusion Week, and it's an all-week event, and it's truly a beautiful thing. And then tomorrow night, just so you all know, I'll be attending the Wayne County State of the Community on behalf of the district. That'll be in Dearborn, and that's tomorrow evening, just to make sure that we've got our finger on the pulse, if you will. And then strategic planning. I want to take the next slide here. February 24th, 5 to 6 at Northville High School. March 2nd, 6 to 7 at Hillside. 6:30, 7:30 at Old Village School. And then we have a Zoom link for a virtual session. And Emily, I'm not sure if there's anything you'd like to add to that one.
Just that each one of these sessions is a duplicate, so you only need to attend one. And if coming to a session is an opportunity, I better turn my microphone on. We would love for as many folks to participate as possible. You can attend any one of these sessions, or you can use that QR code that's on the screen right now and participate by answering the questions for just when it works for your schedule. So however it works for you, we'd love to have you in person at the top 3 options, but you do not need to attend all 3. Please just pick one, and or you can attend the virtual session. We'd love to have as many people as possible show up.
Really grateful for a couple of community reach outs already wanting to know how they can be involved. So we'll continue to put that information out there. And why don't we head back to either Parent Camp or the Advocacy Institute, and if anyone would like to share, please feel free.
Well, the Parent Camp is a wonderful event. I'm so thankful for the NEF for putting that on every year. The booths were great. The people that I got to speak to that represent various mental health and other supportive businesses, and the speakers at the beginning were wonderful. So it's just it's cold, it's early, but it's worth it. It's like a run. I'm a runner. The hardest part is getting your shoes on. Once you get there, you're thankful that you're there. Ron and I got to go to the NSBA Advocacy Institute in DC, and I really appreciative that the board, supported us doing that. I wanted to thank, first of all, the state of Michigan. We had the largest group of school board members there from the entire country. That was really cool. And then we also had someone from every federal district, all 13, all from the UP down to us here in Wayne County. So that was also really great. I don't know if it's never happened, but it's definitely rare. So that was very exciting. I'd like to thank the K-12 Alliance with Robert McCann, who led the way in having us have those meetings, as well as David Randles from Oakland Schools and Mike Latfis from Wayne County, who are the have legislative director roles with both counties. And then I'd like to thank the superintendent of Wayne Risa, Dr. Davida Colbert, who made sure we rode around in style, as well as got us where we needed to go, I should say, on time. And really was like herding cats sometimes when you've got a bunch of school board members that are, looking up at all the things to see in DC. So they did a great job facilitating everything and made sure we needed to be where we were, made sure we were able to meet with the staff, have breakfast with the senators. So it was a wonderful event. What really stood out to me, though, is when we met with the staff members from the representatives' offices. There's a lot of voting going on that day. We're trying to vote we were in a partial shutdown, but trying to get us back up and running as a government. They really emphasized the power of story. And making sure that if you feel inclined to reach out to your representatives, just like you reach out to us, how impactful that can be in terms of maintaining funding. So I just want to just support that idea that don't ever believe that your story isn't important or isn't worthwhile, because that's really the message that we got. And when we came away from that, as you may have seen in the news, that the IDEA funding and the title funding was withheld. It's flat from year to year, but we were able to maintain it. And we heard from many offices that was because people called and people shared the impact it would have on them personally. That puts a face to the data. So that's really important. So that's what I wanted to say. And I just very thankful to be able to go and be part of it. It's very impactful to be around school board members from around the country who all are in support of the wonderful things that are happening in public education. So great opportunity to do that. I'll kick it over to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so when you say we were the largest contingent, let's put a number on that. We were like 20% of the attendance were from Michigan out of 400. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a pretty cool event, and tons of credit to NSBA, MASB, Oakland Schools, Wayne Risa, and K-12. They really made sure we knew what was going on, and like myself, I've never done this before, so I went in kind of terrified, having no clue what to expect, and they did a great job of sitting us down and taking it. I mean, like the 4 weeks before the event, they had training sessions every week, teaching us, how to set up meetings with them, how to structure it. Like if you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, how to structure your meetings, how to discuss topics. And then while we were there, just going through, there were sessions to kind of catch us up on like what's been going on in federal legislation and funding over the last year, and what's the, first a lot of, there's a lot of new people there, so it was kind of a good intro for a lot of people that maybe didn't know all that. But going in like really nervous and not sure what you're doing, and they did a great job of just making sure like you're confident going into those meetings, and they give you they help you kind of walk you through like how to structure and like what points to touch on, and they kind of help you, they gave you a little framework for what you can talk about, but you can elaborate as much as you want and structure it. And they encourage you to provide examples from your home district to kind of drive the point home. And, so going in and coming out was completely different. Like I felt really confident coming out, and it was a really great experience, and they made it really easy.
Well, thank you both for your advocacy for what we do in serving kids. And then tomorrow night, when I see the folks from Wayne Risa, I'll let them know and share with them how happy each of you were with their preparation and support of your trip there. So thank you all. That concludes my report.
All right, is that okay? Okay, then I guess that brings us to public comment. I have one card. Oh, that brings us to public comment. I have one card here for Mr. Steve Schaefer. So Mr. Schaefer, yep. If you could just, well, first of all, I just want to say this is my first time leading public comment. So if my fellow board members want to please chime in, please. You have 3 minutes. Please share your name and a little bit about how you connect you to the district, and go ahead.
I don't get unlimited time if I'm only one person. So thank you for that too.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name's Steve Schaefer. I am a 20-year plus resident of Northville School District, father of 3 boys, 2 of who graduated from Northville High School, and 1 who is a teacher in Michigan Public Schools today. And I recognize Northville Schools for nurturing him to do that. I'm super proud of him as a teacher. He's up in Traverse City today. And went to the music program, and Miss Rumbell, great person. So I just want to make a comment tonight on a concern I had during the Christmas time period related to an online post that was a parody of a religious symbol and icon that many of us in the Catholic community found to be in poor taste and quite frankly offensive. And I do want to say, though, that I'm not a big poster person, but what I see in the online posts that the school district does, I think they're great. Like I think they're super well done and super witty. And I think you do a great job connecting to our students in our modern day era with that comment. But I'll say this one missed the mark. But the reason I really want to come here and make a comment tonight related to that was that for people in the community who found that offensive and kind of reached out and asked for maybe a simple acknowledgement, hey, we're sorry, we probably missed the mark with that. That was in poor taste, or a simple apology. Those requests have been met with silence. And I find that very disappointing. And I also find it very concerning for a school district whose message, and I think you said some of it tonight, includes and involves inclusion and acknowledgement of diversity, that should also include religious viewpoints, and not just Catholic, but any religious viewpoint in this community, which we're very diverse. I can remember my sons having kids at the house, and it was like the United Nations in my house with all the boys that were over there for the tennis team, the swim team, and I thought it was amazing. I loved it. Okay, so I'm totally supportive of that. I just want to ensure that the religious portion of that is also viewed with that same level of respect. And I would just ask that you take that under consideration and take my comments to heart going forward. All right? Thank you for the consideration. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other public? Is that it? I don't have it in the cards. Okay. Okay, that brings us to new hires.
Yeah, who do you wanna
Oh,
read the
there's
motion?
nobody by there. I'm sorry, I did not realize there was not a name next to it. Does anyone want to take it on?
I will bring forth motion 85. This is that the board award 1-year probationary prorated NEA teacher contracts for the 2025-26 school year to the following as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Mabry. So yes, we're excited. We have 2 new hires to bring forward to the board this evening, both of whom are with us. First and foremost, Paige Temkin. Paige is going to be filling the resource room position at Ammerman and Thornton Creek Elementary Schools. Well, a native of Michigan, Paige has spent the entirety of her career in education working with children outside of our state. Previously serving in public and private schools in the Chicago area, where she worked as a special education teacher, as well as Lindamood Bell Learning Processes in Australia, where she wore a variety of hats as a consultant, mentor, and tutor. So she comes to us very well rounded. Michigan recently called Paige and her family home, and they have since settled into Northville. She holds a bachelor's degree in history and English from the University of Michigan. After graduating from U of M, Paige completed her special education teaching certification at National Louis University. Thereafter, fully diving into K-12 education by completing her Master's of Arts degree in literacy education at Northeastern Illinois University. Paige's references echoed similarly in providing their positive feedback regarding her knowledge, her collaborative mindset, and quote unquote, her awesome relationships with students. One of her references also noted how Paige did a wonderful job of maintaining that balance between those high expectations and just demonstrating love for her students, something that really spoke to me. Our interview selection team is excited to recommend Paige Temkin for hire this evening. Paige is back there in the back. All right. You haven't given a wave, if you don't mind. Thank you. And then last but certainly not least is our transitions coordinator, Rebecca Smedley, seated right over my right shoulder here. We're recommending Rebecca Smedley for our Cook Transitions Coordinator. She comes to us with over 20 years of experience working in special education, having served both in a center-based program, similar to Cook, as well as a general education building. Currently, Rebecca serves as a special education teacher in Walled Lake Consolidated Schools Adult Transition Program. In addition, she serves as a department head for the district's transition program, bringing with her not only her lengthy experience and knowledge as a special education teacher, but her leadership skills as well. Previous to her time with Walled Lake, Rebecca served in Lamphere Public Schools, where she not only served as a dual diagnosis middle school teacher, but also a teacher at Lamphere's center-based adult transitions program. A graduate from Central Michigan University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in secondary education, focus of cognitive impairments, Rebecca also holds a Master's of Educational Leadership with a focus on special education, while having certifications in cognitive impairments and geography, as well as her administrative certification for central office administration. Rebecca comes highly recommended from her supervisors and colleagues alike in Walled Lake. Her current supervisor described her as a quote unquote fierce advocate for her students, and that same advocacy was also mentioned by her other references, as was Rebecca's incredible connections with her students. In her current role, Rebecca is already doing some of the same work she will be assuming as Cook's Transitions Coordinator, and we are confident that given this experience, coupled with her experience as not only a classroom teacher, but department head, She's the perfect fit for this position as transitions coordinator at Cook. Rebecca Smedley. So on behalf of our central office team, I recommend that the Board of Education approve a probationary contract for Paige Temkin and Rebecca Smedley for the 25-26 school year. And obviously you have your supporting documentation in your board package this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. It's exciting. Thank you very much. We're glad to have you with us. So with that,
Did we get a support on that?
we?
I'm-
I don't think
no,
we
we
got a
did not. I
support.
was going to say, can we get
Oh,
a
support.
second? Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion brought forward by trustee Mabry, supported by trustee Frazier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, welcome. Glad to have you with us here. Okay.
I think it's so exciting that we're able to fill positions mid-year, especially such important ones like this. So, congratulations to the HR team
will
also
say.
for finding people. But it's just so exciting to have new hires, especially mid-year. That's
Agreed.
And
rough.
I think it's an affirmation again from about what we sense, which is, Northville is got some characteristics that make us notable when people are coming back home to the state, are looking for jobs and education, as well as people who are just in the region who are perhaps looking for new opportunities and new horizons. So we work really hard about that. I think it's also, I don't think anybody would argue with me to say that as a board, we're very teacher-centric. We care very much about the working conditions and the support we provide our teachers for continued professional growth. This is a growth rich environment. And so we celebrate all of the things you've achieved, but also look forward to what lies ahead in your careers. We want to support you.
Okay, that brings us to the Office of Instruction 35M Grant Literacy Material Purchase.
So I know last week we had an extensive conversation around this large shift as we're thinking about literacy for all of our kindergarten through fifth grade students. And this week it's going to be much more concise, I promise. But thinking a little bit about what President Meyer said, we do have some teachers with us here today, and they're the ones who are trialing these teachers, and their stories, I think, are more powerful than any slides that I can share with you. So I will try to tighten up what we have to share. And I'm just so grateful for the teachers who trialed these materials, and for our instructional coaches, Sarah and Lisa, who are here as well, who really just did so much work to make sure that the voices of our teachers, our students, and our families were part of this decision-making process. So thank you all so much. But this has really started a little bit with Michigan Public Act 146, which is also known as the dyslexia legislation. One of the things identified with this legislation is that we need to pick our literacy materials off of this list right here. And with this list, we really, regardless of which of these tools we would have selected, we would have seen some common themes. And as somebody who has trialed these resources in not just this district and other spaces, what you hear from teachers across the board is that they're rigorous. They feel a little bit different. And with rigor, we really want to be thoughtful that it's not just about making it harder unnecessarily for kids, but instead it's deep thinking that matters. We're developing these deep thinking skills. We're building foundational knowledge, and all of that can actually foster curiosity and engagement, and really is aligned to our MyKIP, where we said what we wanted our kids to do was significantly improve their critical thinking. And we think all of these resources that the state has narrowed it down can help us do that. And we just had the joy of picking off that list. Now, this also is required. So if by next fall we hadn't chosen tools off this list, I would need to write a letter to every family explaining why. So this fall we will be rolling out these literacy materials in all K-5 classrooms. It was just a matter of choosing which one. And so part of this process was really thinking about the components of being a skilled reader. And this
visual right here shows Scarborough's reading rope. And this started last year as well, along with the adoption of UFly. And if you look at the model, you can see there are really two major strands. The top is that language comprehension, and the bottom is the word recognition. Then the product or the resource, I'm sorry, we chose for word recognition was UFly. And so that left us with thinking about what resource could support our students and teachers with language comprehension. So that helped us narrow our list down to these 5 that you can see on the board. We started in September really pulling together the literacy leadership team. We looked at and thought about what was important to our teachers and our students for learning here in Northville and what makes us special. So we planned a journey in this tight time frame where we utilized some of our professional development days, where we utilized in teachers' classrooms, and a lot of collaboration. This was quite the process, and it was very collaborative, as you can see in all the engagement that we had going on our timeline.
So when we started this process, we thought it was really important to establish a literacy leadership team. And our literacy leadership team was comprised of classroom teachers, coaches, multi-language learning teachers, administrators, and we spent time focusing on Michigan essential instructional practices as one of our guidance documents. And we established a draft of a vision. And we took that vision to all elementary classroom teachers in October and collaboratively collected feedback, took all the feedback that we heard from that group and created an NPS literacy framework. We used that framework as our guiding force to deeply look into these 5 programs that were left on our list. And after doing so, we decided that HMH into reading and collaborative literacy were the 2 that we wanted to use for a small scale trial.
And so that brought us, oh, let me turn this back on. And at that time, we engaged teachers in trials. And so we have with us today a few teachers that are excited to share their experience. So if you ladies could just go up here and there's a little button to turn that on. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us.
My name is Mandy Shattuck. I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Thornton Creek Elementary. I come to you with 5 years of reading intervention and 20 years before that of teaching experience. And so I knew I was very specific in what I was looking for when I was going to do this trial. A couple things that I wanted to tell you, just a few little things that I experienced during the HMH trial. The first one is one of the big pieces we wanted was some good vocabulary. We know that our Northville students come to us with lots of experiences, and we want to just broaden those experiences in the classroom. One of those, for vocabulary, you're doing it every day with them. But what HMH does is they give you vocabulary cards, and then they give you these slides, and they give you some specific language to use with your students. But if you're a teacher that prefers to sit on the carpet with your students, bring them close to you, hold the cards, and use the cards to have conversations, you can do that. Or if you like the technology, you want to throw it up on the screen, you also have the ability to do that. So HMH is known to be very focused on the art of teaching, letting the teachers decide, do I want to have them sitting next to me close by, or do I like to use the technology? Another exciting thing in regards to rigor that we talked about earlier in one of the slides was that in 2nd grade, I'd never taught figurative language before, and we happened to have figurative language in this particular module, and I thought this is not going to go well, and it was just remarkable. You know, I introduced it, and by the end of the 3 weeks, I could hear them talking about it in the hallway. They were using it in their writing. We were finding it in all different stories. So, you know, it really just kind of ups the ante of what we already had to teach them and kind of challenges them. Maybe some 2nd graders weren't quite ready for figurative language, but the ones that were, like, really grabbed onto it. and ran with it. So it was very exciting to see them really stretch their brains in this way. So.
Hi, I'm Maddie Palacios. I am a second year teacher. This is my second year at Northville and my second year teaching ever. So I was really excited to have the opportunity to be able to be a part of this trial and kind of learn something new. Something I really enjoyed about HMH is, as someone who's a new teacher, I found it was very easy for me to pick up and not feel like I needed to look elsewhere for resources. There was online components, there was a teacher manual, there was extensions, there were activities, there was a community that like provided resources. Everything I needed was given to me through HMH, and I did not feel like I needed to go looking elsewhere. I also really appreciated how the students were able to interact with the materials provided by HMH. They are all given a copy of the text, and I teach 5th grade. And at first I was really nervous, like, oh my gosh, pencils and paper in their hand, they're gonna doodle, they're not gonna pay attention to me. But I was so pleasantly surprised to see how my students were able to annotate and underline, and when they had to refer back to the text, it was there for them. So that was just really exciting to see how my students were able to kind of rise to that challenge and how they use those materials.
My name is Sarah Roberts. I also teach 5th grade at Marine, and this is my 10th year teaching. Two of the things that really stood out to me were the explicit vocabulary instruction and the explicit grammar instruction. Over the course of the unit, I really saw my students start to connect the vocabulary words to a variety of text, not just the text that that vocabulary word applied to. And as they really built that understanding of the vocabulary words, we then saw it outside of the ELA block, which can be quite difficult. Sometimes we get rigid thinking, and this is where I use this vocabulary, but they were able to start really using those words. And it even brought some joy to our classroom as we were able to find opportunities to bring that in, and they'd be very excited to say and make that connection. And then similarly with that grammar instruction, students were encouraged to have deeper understanding by having that explicit instruction, and they ended up applying that beyond their writing. They started to use it in sentence structure, in their daily language. If you were to visit my classroom on any given day, still to this day, from a month ago, we did one lesson on conjunctive adverbs, and you will hear also, therefore, and however for students connecting two ideas. So that's just one of the examples of ways that they are connecting using that grammar and explicit grammar and vocabulary instruction.
Thank you so much. And I hope that you hear the excitement. And if you can picture, when we were narrowing down to our final tool, there were 45 folks in the room. Literacy coaches, our principals were there, and some of our principals are here today as well. And they've been a huge support in really partnering with these teachers, supporting our teachers who are pioneers, trying something new in a very short timeline. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for the professionalism and the expertise that these folks brought to this conversation. I wonder, before we talk about money, are there any questions about the process?
So robust in such a short amount of time. It's really awesome.
I think one thing that stood out was to get 5th graders excited about grammar. I mean, come on, that's pretty awesome.
That really speaks to our incredible teachers.
Well, that too, obviously, but yeah.
As a former English teacher, it got me excited about grammar again. And, you know, I don't often miss classroom teaching, but I felt my heart rate speeding up when you guys were talking about that. And, you know, and not only from, you know, the benefits that it provides for our kids, but having been that teacher that had to go find resources, find that extra supplemental stuff, you know, just piecemealing things together from everywhere. It's so great to hear that not only is there a lot of teacher choice, you can, you know, have it up on the board, or you can have your kiddos down on the carpet with you, whatever. Having materials and support materials easily accessible, so you're not spending a lot of time trying to find that extra stuff, is amazing. And the grammar and vocab, I think too many places have gotten away from teaching those foundational skills to our kids. And I'm so glad that we're going back to that. And of course, who doesn't need more critical thinking skills? So this sounds fantastic. And yay, conjunctive adverbs. Love
All
them.
right. So I just felt moved to make a comment about actually writing in your textbook or in your book, your supportive resource. Annotation is something in my career at the college level. Boy, we had, you can't highlight every word in the section and have it mean anything to you. So, and there's some parents who have expressed to me, well, everything is online now, and so then they can't annotate it. How do they mark up their book? How do they grab and link concepts and important arguments? So I think that that's really cool. That I think that's a skill that we want our students to have, and the fact that they're getting it so early in the curriculum is quite impressive. Yeah, and I think that I'm kind of a grammar teacher. Back in the day, we used to diagram sentences.
I remember.
And actually, I always kind of like that, and I know that it's not on the list of things that we do today, but it does help them understand the structure of their language, and it also makes them, helps them be more expressive speakers as well as writers. Well, the last thing I had in my mind was that, we bring a lot of curriculum forward, and we look for one set of skills kind of bleeding over, bad word, but transferring over into other settings. And I found those really compelling stories that you shared. And, the STEAM presentation will be stronger for the kinds of literacy work that they're doing with you in ELA and vice versa. So I think it lifts up all of the content for these students across different domains. So thank you for that. And your testimonies were really moving. Thank you.
For coming and joining us. The less exciting part, which is the part I talk about, is the money. And what is exciting is that at least the first 2 years of this has been largely funded by a 35M grant. And so we engaged in negotiations with both companies, sort of letting them both know the places the other one was lower and kind of getting them both to come a little bit lower. So in the end, we did not make this decision based on money. Both of the company, in fact, this one came in a little bit lower in year one, but it wasn't enough that we felt like this would have been the reason to make our choice. We had the teachers really weigh in without money in mind. And this company was sort of innovative enough to figure out a way for the exact amount of money that this has been published for Northville schools of what we received for this grant, that's what our amount came in at. And they not only gave us this year's materials, but also the 26-27 years materials, but also the 27-28 years digital access and physical materials. And that was as long as we followed the timeline that we're on right now. So if you approve this today, we will turn around and get that moving so that we can actually get that deal. And then you'll see there is cost for the 27-28 school year. That is professional development costs. So that's not the consumable materials. And one of the things where this company was a little bit more expensive was on professional development, but I feel like we were putting that money in the right place. We know that if we're going to roll out something new for teachers, we need to really support them well. And when you look at that dollar amount, part of the reason that's high is because it's grade level specific coaching. It's coaches of coaches. We're building capacity of teacher leaders so that they can then continue to support the system. And we don't just do that in year one. This is if we're going to change the way things happen in classrooms, we can't just give them a 1-hour PD and call it good. So that's the overview of the first 2 years. For 2028 and beyond, we have not committed to this. We won't commit to this company for that because we really want them to show us that they can meet our expectations. But assuming things are still going well, we can renew it. And that is our predicted annual reoccurring costs. But that cost, for example, could come down if, for example, we decide teachers don't need as many of one kind of materials because they discover they're using it less. And that's the nice thing. Sometimes these companies would like us to sign like a 3 or a 4-year contract. I would prefer not to do it that way. I prefer to do it the way that we did, where we say, give us the cost for 26-27, and then they gave it 27-28 for free, and then tell us what you'll charge us in 2028 and beyond. But we're only going to sign that
with you once you've sort of shown us that you've met our expectations as a company and that you've also, we might discover we don't need quite as much and we don't want to be locked into a certain amount.
I did see the governor in her proposed budget today offered a triple amount in the investment for literacy. So maybe,
we are watching this. We are hoping that they will allow for basically consumable costs, right? Ongoing costs for something. But also there's districts who didn't apply for 35M grant funding like we did, luckily, but for those districts who didn't, they still have to follow this law. So, or if they happen to use their 35J dollars before the list came out and buy something that's not on the list, they now have to make all their teachers change. So we're grateful for the timeline we followed and for the teachers and the principals that were able to move along this particular timeline that wasn't set by us. It was really set by the state. So, but financially, it benefited our district.
I have a question that when you said, we would make a determination whether we needed materials or not, how would that determination be made?
Digital access, right? Those physical materials, there's two components. One of them is a book that is really, that we're going to need that. We know we're going to have to keep buying that. But another is almost like a workbook for students that those same documents live inside the digital access. And do we print our own? What is the best way? How are teachers actually using these resources? So year one, we want to use it full fidelity. But if we find out we're not using something, that we're using the materials in a different way, or maybe we're using the digital part of that piece more often, then maybe we don't order all of those physical materials. You have to live it and live it the way it's been designed before you make those determinations. What I don't want is a big pile of workbooks that we don't use.
Sure, right.
Accumulating in our back rooms, but also if our teachers need them, and our students need them, we need to plan for it and budget for it. So that is what we're budgeting for.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I'm really appreciative of the PD component of this, having worked in schools where they just say, here, we're going to do this thing and then figure it out for yourself. That's a surefire way for something to not be successful. So investing in our teachers and making sure that they have the support and access they need to ensure that this has the level of success that we are hoping to see from it is paramount to this functioning well.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. Thank you to everyone that was involved in making this happen, and I appreciate the stories and getting to know a little bit more about this. It'd be great to hear going forward next year, and I'm really excited that we have all these resources to support it be starting. So I believe, Secretary Boytel, that there is a motion that you need to bring forward.
Okay, let's see here. I'll turn the
It's
page.
number 10.
Got it. Well, thank you for the presentation to make sure that everyone at the table is fully informed. I would like to bring motion 86 that the board award a contract to HMH for the K-5 Tier 1 literacy resources for 2026-27 school year, totaling $652,929 funded through Section 35M grant with extensions into the 27-28 school year and beyond, funded by the general fund. This support.
So we have a motion properly presented by Secretary Campbell Voitel and supported by Trustee Maurer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yay.
Yeah.
So, if I may, if the teachers and our coaches and Emily and Crystal and our principals could stand up and our two new hires, and John. Stand up a sec. All right, so what you see there, and because you're just hired, I'm going to include the new ones in. So I want you to think about something. So we have over 800 community public school districts in the state of Michigan, 800. And when it comes to best places to teach, we're rated number 1. We're rated number 2 overall as best district, number 3 in quality of teachers out of 800. Now, I'm not a math guy. It's pretty good. You take a look at our M-STEP scores, and that would be what we do in elementary through 8th grade, toggling between 1 and 2 through the state. Amazing. You look at our SAT scores, again, fighting back and forth over the years 1 and 2 on there. In this, what you are all standing right now represent is the physical embodiment of something that this district is and always will be, which is we could very easily have not filled out the 35M stuff. You're doing that well, and you're doing that great, right? However, what we know is that really the enemy of being great is good. And when you feel like you've made it and you stop reaching and stop trying, in our business, who gets hurt are the kids. Right? I mean, I'm so proud of each of you who are standing up and proud of the new people who will be joining us. Ratings and rankings aren't really that big a thing to me. However, if I do see people propagating information, perhaps on online forums that aren't accurate, I do think it's important to be accurate. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, sure, but people aren't entitled to their own facts. And the facts I know are this: those of you standing do so well for our kids and work so hard for our kids. In this process, 4 months, this process was exhaustive. But please know the teachers that you're seeing here chose to say, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and start something brand new in September, October. What could go wrong? And you did it. So thank you all for your leadership, instructional coaches as well, essential aspects of a high-performing public community school district. Your ability to go in and help teachers and our teachers being so open to it. And obviously building leaders who manage that. Amy and Joe, I'm thinking of you two back there, in really giving it the best shake. And of course, Emily and Crystal for your leadership of our Office of Instruction. I just want to say thank you. And to the board, I want to say thank you for believing in them, believing in us, in these investments for our kids. And Ms. Mabry, I hope you're right. I hope we do get a tripling of funding. That'd be fantastic, because I think these folks probably know where to put the money. So thank you all on behalf of the district. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to 11, the authorizing resolution for the 2026 school building and site bonds series. I'll turn it over to you, Treasurer McIntyre.
All right, thank you. All right, I'd like to bring forth motion 87, that the board adopt the resolution ratifying the sale of school district 2026 school building and site bonds.
Support.
I was going to say that to have a great education system, obviously we need great teachers, we need great coaches, we need great curriculum, and we also need amazing buildings.
Yeah, that would be a good place to start.
Right.
All right, so we have a motion brought forward by Treasurer McIntyre, supported by Treasurer Secretary Campbell Boytel. I believe this calls for a roll call vote.
All right. Do we want to hear a presentation
Oh,
first?
yes, that might be a good idea.
Devin's like,
Devin.
no, I'm good.
I mean,
All right.
I'd like to hear the presentation.
yeah, I don't really have a presentation. So this is a resolution that allows us to sell the second series of our voter-approved 2023 bond. So this is just kind of a formality to have that done this spring or early summer.
Could you acknowledge the learning opportunity that you're offering the students at the high school?
I'm sorry, what?
Could you say something about?
Yeah, so part of this bond sale is last bond sale, we were able to include some high school students. Stiefel and PFM had a little live session when the bonds are being sold. So we're trying to do that again this year. We're shooting for the last week in May. So it's going to be tight with
timing. Okay.
So this is going to be $67.3 million. So.
Okay.
Any questions?
Right. Anyone have any questions?
Okay, thank you for being mindful, making sure that Mr. Kling says his part before we go for the roll call vote.
Okay. McIntyre,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Regan Mauer,
Yes.
Mabry,
Yes.
Frazier,
Yes.
Campbell Boytel is yes.
All right. Now I guess we're
Onward and
on to-
upward.
Yes, exactly.
The added early childhood budget.
Okay, so what motion would that be?
This is going to be motion number 89.
Okay.
Motion 89.
And then I could just,
Yeah, that the board approves the 26 and 27 early childhood program rates as presented.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
Not 88? Well, we just did 87.
Oh, yeah.
So it should be motion 88.
Okay,
Okay, and so,
I'll do that.
Sorry, I should have said it.
should we point out that before you bring that forward, motion forward, that trustee Frazier is going to accuse himself?
That's
We make a motion first.
Okay, okay.
All right, I will bring forth motion number 88, that the board approve the 2026-27 Early Childhood Education and Extended Day Program tuition rates.
Support.
Okay, so we have a motion properly presented by Vice President Stewart, supported by Treasurer McIntyre. All in favor?
So,
Oh.
yeah, so just to be clear, I am abstaining from this vote due to a conflict of interest. My wife works for early childhood, so I'm not going to vote on this.
All right,
Can I
thank
make
you.
a comment before we vote, or
Sure.
should I do it after?
No, make it now.
Okay, so we had a presentation on this in our committee of the whole last week, and a couple pretty exciting, I think, things that came out of that presentation were that the tuition rates to our parents are staying the same. So there's no raise in tuition rates. And we're also, early childhood is also going to give all teachers and staff a 3% raise and a step increase. So, I mean, to be able to hold our tuition rates steady for parents and provide a salary increase, I think is pretty substantial. So,
Agreed.
Magic wand.
I know.
Finance.
It's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think the other piece of it is the addition of the GRPS,
GSRP.
GSRP. I always want to say it wrong. The GSRP
Readiness
classrooms were
program.
really helpful,
Yes.
and I think we want to see how that goes for another year, right?
Okay,
Now we can vote.
so I'm just going to say it again. We have a motion properly presented by Vice President Stewart, seconded by Treasurer, or supported by Treasurer McIntyre. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So do we have any added agenda items for this meeting? Okay. Looking to next month, are there a lot of agenda items?
We have public comment.
Oh, no, I'd rather do it right now and then do public comment and then adjourn, if you don't mind. Do we have any other, we have a large docket for our cow coming up?
No.
Because this is the only school board meeting that we have this month. So our next meeting will be a committee of the whole on March 3rd. 3/3. Yes. Yes. So do we have a large?
We have some operations and technology items so far.
Okay, so if possible, I'd like to bring forward the things. Okay. I'd like to bring up the parking lot items onto the agenda for the next cow on 3/3.
Okay.
All right. So then I will go to public comment. Do we have any public comment? No cards, no comment. Okay. All right. Well, I cannot believe I am saying this, but at 7:27, we are adjourned.
Nice.
All right.
Unbelievable.
We got a lot done in an hour.
But don't leave.
Oh, that's right.